women want to see him resign. But giving Clinton what amounts to a free ride was immediately denounced today by some leading conservative women as a double standard. While women were taking sides, the Judiciary Committee was forging ahead. Chairman Henry Hyde announcing today the committee will vote whether to open an impeachment inquiry on October 5 or 6. The full House of Representatives 2 days later. It's getting hot, and so's our crossfire. Have Clinton's policies earned him the support of women, or has his behavior earned their wrath? Pat?
Eleanor Smeal, if this was a pro-life conservative president who was accused of sexually harassing Paula Jones and using a 21-year-old intern as a sexual toy and groping and almost molesting a lady like Kathleen Willey who came to him in distress, you would have his head on a pike. Why this double standard?
It's not a double standard. I would hope that you can see that right now these are not impeachable offenses. Let's face it, when this Constitution was written, it was high crimes. It was treason, bribery. And as serious as I believe sexual misconduct is, and believe me, I've spent my whole life fighting this thing, this is not treason, it isn't bribery, it isn't a high crime. And basically, we have to get on with this government. We can't have a democracy undermined like this. The public knows when they voted what they were getting. And what you're trying to do is overturn an election. In fact, I could ask you, where would you be if this was a conservative?
Well, I'll tell you, when Senator Packwood was accused of far less egregious offenses, the 3 Republicans on the Ethics Committee came out unanimously for his expulsion from the Senate, and I wrote a column and said on a TV show he should be expelled.
Wait a minute. He was no conservative, and you know it. He was pro-choice. And in fact, where were the feminists on a pro-choice person? And in fact, we were criticized then that we waited a long time. And what did we do there? We asked for a due process. We asked for an open hearing. That's what we demanded. We demanded an open hearing. Right now, there's no due process in this Judiciary Committee. There's no even standard.
Ellie, listen.
And it's about time that some groups came out and said that this
due process,
Ken Starr report.
You know, one woman came in, and said that Clarence Thomas had 10 years before engaged in smutty talk with her, and you had a campaign to virtually lynch this fellow and say he was disqualified.
Right, exactly what we did with him.
You let me finish my question. And disqualified him. If smutty talk 10 years before, let's say it were proven, disqualified Clarence Thomas for the Supreme Court, how does not this egregious use and exploitation of women disqualify Bill Clinton?
I'm glad you said it, because it's totally different circumstances. What we were doing then was whether we're going to appoint a person to a lifetime appointment. It was still in the process. We'd already come out with Clarence Thomas before we even heard about this. What we were then protesting was a Senate Judiciary Committee that didn't even think it was important enough to ask a question about it.
All right,
this is trying to overturn an election.
You have to say now that all the stuff, the talk about we believe Anita Hill was phony. You didn't bother you in the least. You just didn't want him on the court. You were using that.
No, no, no. We had before Anita Hill come out against him. That wasn't the issue. What the issue was, an all-white male Senate Judiciary Committee didn't even ask a question about it. That was the issue, that we thought she should have a hearing. But we had already made a decision on that. But that was before the appointment.
It's trivial.
Pat, let's get Janet in here.
It's not trivial.
I want to pick up on that right away. I mean, you know, you and Pat and others are making this big thing. Hey, Clarence Thomas. Hey, Bob Packwood. I mean, it's apples and oranges,
Absolutely.
Janet. You've got to agree, isn't it? I mean, with Clarence Thomas, the issue was against Democrats, by the way, in charge of the Judiciary Committee, that they refused to give Anita Hill a voice. They refused to give her a platform. They refused to even let her speak. Correct? Isn't that the big difference?
Absolutely not. And methinks these ladies doth protest far too much. The National Organization for Some Women in America is an organization that you are hearing their death rattles. In 1992, the bottom line is they would never have supported a pro-life conservative woman, and they will never support a pro-life conservative justice. So what they did is they conjured up not a thimbleful of evidence against this man and tried to railroad him off the United States Supreme Court. They didn't win. 1998, all these years later after the Year of the Woman, you've got 3 of them who came in on those coattails. Carol Moseley Braun, Patty Murray, and you've got one more. Who's the other one? Barbara Boxer, in the fight for their lives. Why? Because this movement has not now, nor will it ever speak for the majority of women in America.
Well, wait a minute. Well, look at what the polls are right now. The majority of women agree with us. They're not for impeachment. They're not for resignation, and it's 2-to-1.
You know,
you folks are trying to take an incident and make it a high crime of impeachment and of treason, bribery. I mean, as important as this is, and we do not condone this behavior a bit, this is not an impeachable offense.
You know, a high crime and a misdemeanor, the definition of a misdemeanor is a misdeed. And if you go back and read the Federalist Papers, particularly number 64, you will see that the breach of integrity is enough to say you disqualified. I'll tell you what, as a wife and a mother, I think what he's done in the White House is enough to disqualify him straight, pure, and simple. But the process has now begun, and when it's all said and done, you're going to see perjury, obstruction of justice.
So what you're saying then is, and I think it's pretty clear, it's a political agenda. He's pro-choice, you're anti-choice, therefore throw the bum out,
and let me, Bill, flip it exactly the other way. If
no,
this were
isn't that what, be honest, isn't that where you're coming from?
I have to tell you, the answer to that question resides right here. That press conference that was held this afternoon.
I'm asking you.
It's the politics of the man that's made them come to their defense and belie the issue of sexual harassment.
When there was an anti-choice president, and there was the Iran-Contra hearing, we did not come out for impeachment. We did not try to use that. What we are saying here is that we have a responsibility to speak out because opponents of women's rights are trying to use this sexual misconduct to overturn an election.
Let's get beyond sexual misconduct. Let's take a professional woman by the name of Betty Curry. She is a secretary to the President of the United States, a black middle-aged lady. Clinton turns her into an enabler to cover the door for her when he's playing with this toy, 21-year-old intern in there. He talks to her twice, suggests in effect that she commit perjury. Is this not an utter abuse of a professional lady?
I don't like anything in this incident, and I am not going to condone it.
All right, don't say impeachment, but tell him, should he not resign for this behavior?
Well, first place, impeachment and resigning are the same thing. If it's not an impeachment, he was elected to a 4-year term. That's reality.
Nixon resigned.
But Nixon, it was an abuse of presidential power. This is not an abuse of presidential power.
Absolutely
Wait a minute,
power.
Not presidential power. And you know doggone well what presidential power means.
That is an abuse of power. The president does not adjudicate like the courts.
One at a time.
The president does not adjudicate like the courts. He does not legislate like the Congress. He does one thing. He puts his left hand in the Bible, he raises his right hand, and he promises to faithfully execute the laws of the land. It is the quintessential bully puppet. He pronounces, he persuades, he tries to influence, and now he's a shell of a man whose entire presidency is now going to be questioned.
What you're saying, if the president breaks any law, if the president does anything wrong, he ought to be impeached. I mean, this is a whole new standard.
Well,
a president jaywalks, a president has a speeding ticket, he ought to be impeached.
You brought that up because that addresses the issue known as Lex Rex. Does this earthly king somehow above the law?
What
Is a different set of laws for this man than for the rest of us?
Shouldn't the punishment fit the crime?
Absolutely.
Isn't that a policy?
Absolutely, and if there was this much honor in the man, he'd step down.
Sexual misbehavior is such a crime that you levy the most serious punishment I'm asking a question, please. That you levy the most serious punishment that we have against an elected official?
It's not over yet. It ain't over till it's over, as Yogi says. And what we may discover by the time it's all through is perjury, obstruction of justice, and abuse of power.
You don't have that, my friend.
Starr isn't even claiming perjury. Starr isn't even claiming perjury.
Oh, my friends, wait till we read about that affidavit. Absolutely.
Let me ask you about this. Kathleen Willey, her husband she was in very tough shape. Her husband committed suicide that day. Obviously, there's a great strain in the marriage. Now, she comes in, is a very proper lady who's a loyalist to Bill Clinton, raised money for him. Even Mr. Press said he believed her. And he takes advantage of her physically in the Oval Office. Now, isn't that, let's say what the charge against Clarence Thomas was true, smutty talk. Isn't that far, far worse what the President of the United States did to this lady?
Okay, let's put it this way. Say everything, assume everything is true. Assume it's all true. Are these impeachable offenses?
Perjury, obstruction of justice. They certainly are. Lying to a man.
But Kathleen Willey is not that.
He has lied about these things.
Wait a minute. You've got to prove things. You can't just assert things.
He says maybe.
You don't know
he says maybe.
Maybe's different than he did, Pat.
That's why we're going on to the trial in the Senate.
That's not a trial right in the Senate. There's not even any processes right now.
In the Senate?
Right now.
They do have them in the Senate.
Wait a minute. Right now, we're at the impeachment stage, or whatever this stage is called. And they haven't set up a standard. They have taken a one-sided prosecutor statement, dumped it on the public,
your fellow
dumped it secret grand jury. Wait a minute.
That's why it took so long.
Listen, Ken Starr's case is so weak, and you know it.
Oh, absolutely not.
And you know
absolutely
it. And then
not.
they dump it on. Will this affect the polls? Will that affect the polls?
You know, that's
They're
so
not trying to do a due process like the Rodino Committee.
But, you know, golly, go back and check that record. You don't know the players without a program. 2/3 of the House voted to release that, and 4 Democrats on the Judiciary Committee said release it.
And they took 7 months before they decided to, 7 weeks before they ever released one shred of information or evidence. Big difference.
Does private behavior matter at all in judging morality, or is it just a matter of where you stand? And do liberals all get a free pass from feminists? These questions when we come back.
Worst nightmare. At first, Clinton just seemed like a new kind of man, a new age man, empathic and open to women, appointed them to high positions. Then over time, he has become revealed as the old seducer, the cad. It has been a great shock, I think, to contemporary feminism.
Crossfire is brought to you by Quest. Ride the light.
In the time it takes lightning to strike, every book in the Library of Congress can be sent coast to coast, flawlessly. Quest has harnessed the speed of light. The world is about to become a very different place.
Last winter, after years of high cholesterol, Mike Vaughn had a heart attack. He spoke to his doctor about Zocor, a cholesterol medicine proven to help save the lives of people with high cholesterol and heart disease. Now he's made some important plans with Alex. When diet and exercise aren't enough, talk to your doctor about adding Zocor. Zocor is a prescription medicine and is not right for everyone. It is not for people with liver problems or women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Your doctor may perform blood tests to check for liver problems. Because serious side effects can result, tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor. And tell your doctor about any medicines you are taking. For product information, talk to your doctor or pharmacist, or call 1-800-MERC-94. Zocor is the most often prescribed cholesterol medicine. Aren't there enough reasons in your life to ask your doctor about Zocor? Zocor, cholesterol medicine that helps save lives. It's your future. Be there.
Congratulations. Your business is growing. Now who's going to do all the work? You need Management Recruiters International, your staffing partner. From teams of skilled salespeople to technical experts to a single key senior manager, MRI takes responsibility and finds the talent you need without missing a beat. After all, you're growing. Why stop now? MRI.
Strength, knowledge, and experience. That's Pacific Life. For more than 130 years, Pacific Life has provided insurance and investments that protect families and help build assets. Our family of companies has helped thousands of businesses and millions of individuals reach their financial goals. Use the power of the Pacific. Pacific Life.
Tonight, the test audience. It can twist a plot, even change an ending.
We use it to challenge what we already feel.
The secret weapon Hollywood doesn't want you to know about. CNN and Entertainment Weekly. Tonight, 10, 9 Central on CNN.
I'm watching you, CNN.
Welcome back. Many of the same feminists who said that Clarence Thomas's alleged trash talk with Anita Hill should disqualify him for the Supreme Court, now say that Bill Clinton's behavior with Paula Jones, Monica, and even his alleged groping of Kathleen Willey do not disqualify him from leading the country. Feminism, consistency, and hypocrisy are issues, and our guests are Eleanor Smeal, who heads the feminist majority, and Janet Parshall, advisor to the Family Research Council and a radio talk show host. Bill?
Janet, I think we've gotten away from the central important distinction here, which I'd like to try to get back to. In the immortal words of Patricia Ireland, we knew he was a snake when we elected him, but we liked his policies. 1992, 1996, women 54 for Clinton, 38 for Dole, 16-point advantage. Isn't that the key issue? They were not voting then for his philandering. They were voting for policies that they supported.
And you ask me if it's political? It's 100% political.
But I'm saying, isn't that what, for women, or for feminists, or for you,
right?
The question is not, do we approve of this affair? The question is, are we better off as women with him or without him? Isn't that the central question?
Well, if it is the central question, let me run to the front of the line and tell you, without them. I think some of his policies are reprobate. And when you look at the numbers, the Census Bureau says 1 out of 2 registered voters went out and voted the last time. Why do you think they held their press conference today? They are petrified that folks are not going to show up in November, so they're trying to galvanize their base.
But the point is, you feel that way, but obviously you're in the minority among women in America. When you look at choice, when you look at education, when you look at environment, when you look maybe at family leave, women are saying he may be a skunk, but he's good for us. And are you suggesting that women throw all of that away because he had a fling with Monica?
I'll tell you what, I think it would do women a big service to throw it all away.
But
Let's go back and look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. 43%. That was his overwhelming mandate from the American people. 43%.
54 among women.
Let's go to the videotape. I want to show you a quote here, Eleanor, and get your comment. Do you agree with Betty Friedan on this point?
Morality doesn't have to do with what two people do in bed when they can mutually consent to do it. Morality has to do with obscenities like poverty, you know, obscenities like violence. Those are the things that count. And in those things, his record is pretty good.
Now, let me ask you a question based on that, Eleanor. She seems to be saying that morality has, serial adultery is not a matter of morality. A matter of morality is whether, you know, you're for the food stamp program. Do you believe that there is no moral content in sexual relations?
What she's trying to do is put this in proportion. When we're electing a president of the United States, we're electing what he's going to do for the public, what he's going to do in government. We don't even know all their personal lives. I mean, if we're going to start investigating all the personal lives of every person, then it's a different story. And I'm going to tell you one thing. There's going to be very few people that are current there that are eligible. What she's looking at is what is he doing for the children in child care, in education, in pay equity,
he's setting a splendid example for the children, isn't he?
But he's providing a much stronger economy. He's providing for women much more opportunity, for people of color, some hope and some civil rights.
Curry. Let me read you your own quote. We risk the ushering into power of a puritanical, fundamentalist sex police who allow government to destroy the right to privacy.
Amen.
Eleanor, isn't this right out of the fever swamps of the far left? I used to hear those things in the 60s from our crowd, which was way, way over there.
No, I feel that very strongly. Fundamentalism will selectively prosecute, and they'll be self-righteous and hypocritical. Some of the very people who are sitting in judgment, what are they doing in their private lives? Are we going to look at everybody's private life? Are we going to just start sneaking around and saying, are you cheating on your wife? Is that going to be the standard?
Let me ask you something. The people that seem to be looking around in private lives are the White House crowd that talks about a scorched earth policy, digging up dirt on the private lives of the investigators, digging up dirt on Republicans. Will you condemn the White House scorched earth strategy?
What I know is what's happening right now in public, and I know what Ken Starr has done. And I believe that this whole process is frightening. And when I'm talking about puritanical, we are up against this right wing constantly, and they want to make adultery a federal offense and a capital punishment. Don't think
they want to put people to death.
Jennifer, we're almost out of time. Just so real quick, last question.
Yep.
One woman who hasn't been mentioned today, First Lady Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
She's out campaigning in Colorado today,
Yep.
New York yesterday. What she's saying basically, I mean, she's hurt by this more than anyone else, you got to agree.
Absolutely.
If Hillary has made peace with this and forgives the guy, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't you?
Well, first of all, we don't know that she's made peace, number one. Number two, she's in the political fight for her life, number two. Number three, she's got to prove that her man can still raise money for the party or he is going to be drop-kicked by his own right outside the city gates. And number four, bottom line is, he is not just her husband, he is the moral leader of this country. You do not have power if you surrender all your principles. You merely have an office. It is now a hollow office.
The risk of cutting this off, we still have to, and I don't want to, neither do you, but we're out of time. Jenna Parshall, thank you very much for joining us on Crossfire. Ellie Smil, thank you for coming back. Pat Buchanan and I will have our closing comments about this feminist war coming up next.
Someday there will be no subways or corporate ladders to climb. If retirement is a bridge to be crossed when we get there, then we must accept whatever lies ahead of us. If it is one we must build, then let us begin.
So there was this party, and everyone was there, and you had way too much to drink and messed up, and wished you could start over. It's called learning the hard way. This is easier.
It's Alcohol 101, the new CD colleges are using to teach responsible decision-making about drinking, or not drinking.
Okay, start over.
Alcohol 101 was created by the University of Illinois and the Century Council. The council is funded by America's leading distillers.
The original aviators, they were resourceful, determined to get the job done. Sound familiar? Well, you're today's aviators. At TWA, we see that same spirit in you. Because we share it. Even our program to recognize our best customers is named after you. Aviators, with more benefits and more respect for your time in the air. It's just one of the ways we recognize you, today's aviators. We're TWA.
And we want to be your airline.
Practicing law has never been so seductive. Legalese.
See it for the first time anywhere. Sunday, October 4th at 8 on TNT.
I'm Martin Savage in Marathon, Florida. We're here and across the Florida Keys. They are bracing, in fact, already feeling the impact of Hurricane George. The question of the hour, how bad will it be? Are they truly prepared? The evacuation routes are now closed. Those that are here must remain. The latest, live on The World Today, right after Crossfire's closing comments.
In the time it takes a shooting star to light the sky, every book in the Library of Congress can be sent coast to coast, flawlessly. Quest introduces the world's most advanced fiber optic network. The world is about to become a very different place.
Hey, you Morty Briskin?
Who's asking?
Had a hard time finding this place.
Dear Mort, you have been accepted to Harvard University and awarded a scholarship. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. You must respond, however, by May 1978.
Better late than never.
Next time, be absolutely sure. Don't just send it FedEx.
See you in September.
I want to put you in a new GMC Yukon Denali. No payments ever.
Visit any Red Roof Inn before October 31st and enter to win a new
Yukon Denali. And the price?
I'm giving it away. No payments ever.
Ever.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I'll do this. A new Yukon Denali from Red Roof Inn.
Plus, you could win a year's worth of AT&T prepaid calling. Every guest gets a free AT&T prepaid card. Call us crazy. But call us today.
And with a smile. Call 1-800-THE-ROOF. Red Roof Inns. Nice people and an honest value.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wiles of communications.
Tonight on Larry King Live, reaction to the president's videotape from Jennifer Flowers and top journalists, too. All tonight, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Okay, I'll see you there.
What was that all about?
Your sister wants me to help her shop for furniture.
Mrs. Perfect is asking for help?
I know, can you believe it?
I guess this means you two are off to Raymore and Flanagan.
Yes, and it's a perfect time because everything's on sale.
Today through Monday, everything is reduced at Raymore and Flanagan. Plus, pay nothing for an entire year. No deposit, no interest, no payments at all.
Oh, hi, you're back.
Uh-huh, and we saved a bundle on our new bedroom.
We? I thought you said the shopping trip was just for my sister.
Don't be silly.
If you drive the car, you're definitely going to become a Hyundai believer. I feel really safe in my car because it has the dual airbags, side impact protection.
Right now, you could get the Hyundai Accent with AM/FM stereo cassette for as little as $6,999. But you better hurry down to your Hyundai dealer because these deals are going real quick. You could get the Accent for as little as $6,999 during the Hyundai Real Sale.
It may be dry and peaceful now, but slippery conditions are right around the corner. Where will you go for quality Cooper tires and excellent service?
This is the tire guy at CRS Tire and Auto.
CRS Tire and Auto at 2 convenient locations.
Only CRS Tire and Auto with the best prices.
CRS for personal attention.
What are you waiting for? Get to CRS Tire and Auto for Cooper tires. Chris the tire guy guarantees the best prices and the best tires. Cooper tires. Stop by CRS Tire and Auto today.
Ben, with a shot like that, I should go pro.
It was good, Dad, but stick to what you're really good at, selling cars.
For over 40 years, the Brownell family has been providing quality Lincoln, Mercury, and Saab products to the community. Their excellent service has led them to be a 5-time recipient of the Ford Chairman's Award.
Ben, what'd you think about that shot?
Dad, really, stick to the cars.
Brownell Motors, where the real pros are. Exit 12 west of I-84.
Now for a full hour, weekdays 5 Eastern on CNN. Pat, this is unbelievable. What you and the anti-choice gang are trying to say to women is, look, Clinton's good on choice, good on environment, good on education, but you ought to throw him away because he misbehaved. The women of America are smarter than that, Pat. They're not going to fall for it.
Oh, listen, what you fellas are saying is this, and what these women like Miss Smeal are saying is, look, as long as he's with us on our issues, he can treat women as objects and playthings in his personal life, all he wants. This puts the final nail in the coffin lid of feminism. And you know what else is on trial here? Liberalism is on trial right now. If this is acceptable to you guys, it tells you what you think of the presidency.
What they're saying is what the American people are, Pat, that we judge a person in a public office by their policies, not by their private behavior. Keep the cops out of the bedroom, Pat. Yours, mine, and Clinton's.
And why did you guys keep John Tower out from being Secretary of Defense?
Oh, so this is payback time, Pat.
No,
is that
it's
it?
not.
Yeah, there it is.
It's hypocrite
From
time.
I'm Bill Press. Good night for Crossfire.
From the right, Pat Buchanan. Join us tomorrow night for another edition of Crossfire.
If you have a comment about tonight's program or a suggestion for a future one, call us toll-free at 888-CNN-0563 or email us at crossfire@cnn.com. This is CNN.
Closing in on South Florida, Hurricane George leaves destruction in the Caribbean and is just hours away from the Keys. The president makes his pitch, insisting the public is on his side.
A way out here, and the only way out, is for people in Washington to do what the folks in America want them to do, which is to take care of their concerns, their children, and their future. That's what I mean to do, and I'm going to do my best.
Republicans counter it's not so simple.
Don't forget, when all the distractions and diversions have been made, at the end of it all, we're about one mighty task, and that's vindicating the rule of law.
New evidence of slower but steady growth in the U.S. economy, but the news is no comfort to a nervous stock market. And taking aim at winter's misery, a pill that promises to fight the flu.
Good evening, I'm Joey Chen at CNN Center. Jim Moret is off this evening. This is The World Today.
To have a job that's 4 months, I mean, did they hire you for a specific thing, and why?
Yeah, I think it is unusual, but this was sort of an unusual